Most students think that they have to memorize the Pythagorean trig identities. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to always derive them, and you don't have to memorize them anymore. The Pythagorean trig identity is sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals to 1. So this is the first thing that you need to always memorize. And even this, if you don't memorize it, I'll show you how to derive it. In our unit circle, is defined by its radius, which is 1. We can create a triangle here, and the triangle is represented by x and y. In a unit circle, x represents cosine and y represents sine of the angle. This is theta. Now, if you remember that the Pythagorean theorem says that if we have one side, that is A, another side, that's B, and the hypotenuse is C, then A squared plus B squared equal to C squared. In our unit circle, our hypotenuse is 1, our A is represented by sine theta, and our B is represented by cosine theta. And that's how we get the identity sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals to 1. Now, from this, we can derive almost every identity that we need. Let's say we need a relationship between tan and secant. We know that tan equals to sine theta over cosine theta, and that cotan equal the inverse, which is cosine theta over sine theta. We know that secant theta is equal to 1 over cosine, and that cosine theta is equal to 1 over sine. So you need to know those as well. We need them. So if I need a relationship between tan and secant, then what I need to do is divide both sides by cosine squared theta. And now sine squared theta over cosine squared theta is tan squared theta, and cosine over cosine is 1, and 1 over cosine is secant squared theta. So this is our first identity. So now I find the relationship between what is secant squared theta equals to. So secant squared theta equals to tan squared theta plus 1. In the same way, I can move my 1 to the other side, and I end up with tan squared theta equals to secant squared theta minus 1. The second relationship I can derive. So to find a cotan, I know that cotan is equal to cosine over sine. So if I divide everything by sine squared theta, both sides, then 1 over sine squared theta here, and now sine squared theta over sine squared theta is going to be 1, and cosine squared theta over sine squared theta is going to be cotan squared theta, and 1 over sine square is cosecant squared theta. So now I also derive the cosecant squared theta. In the same way, I can move 1 to the other side, and I will have cotan squared theta equals to cosecant squared theta minus 1. You just derived all the identities without having to memorize anything. All from the simple sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals to 1.
One of the most popular choices by parents in the Bay Area is Tutoringisus. We offer college advising, tutoring services, SAT and ACT test prep all under one roof. Where hard work achieves dreams, Tutoringisus is here to help.